Hello, welcome back to another episode of Collider Jedi Council. I'm Kristian Harloff, aka Darth Harloff, and welcome back to our Star Wars show. If you've been following us, you know we talk Star Wars here. If not, you probably got it from the title. I'm really excited because we have our full council back together. The gang is back together again.
What?
First of all, it is the return of Obi-Wan Kenobi. John Campea is here. John, how's it going?
It's going really well, and oh my gosh, what's this in front of me? My book,
Your
The
book is
Pride.
real!
It's real. It's out. It's available now on Amazon right now. Go and pick it up. The Pride. I was first day on sale. You guys made it crack the top 100 in sci-fi fantasy on Amazon. Thank you guys so much. Yes. So you can go pick it up there. So it's really great to be back.
It's great to have you back, and of course, I love to have the member back here. Welcome back, the Smith Lord, Tiffany Smith, back
all the way
again.
back from
Yay!
Disneyland.
Yeah, I was at Disneyland yesterday and it was awesome. Nick and Christina, thanks for saying hi at Star Wars Launch Bay. I loved seeing you guys there.
Yeah. All right, let's get it. Oh, hey, welcome back. It's Mark 2D2.
Who's that? Who's that?
Do you actually still work here?
Oh my God! Well, look. First of all, I want to apologize to you guys because I know you haven't been able to do the show for the last 5 weeks because I've been out. So now we finally are back.
I don't know what you're
Mark,
talking about.
We've actually done the show every week since you haven't been here.
Well, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
I believe to record numbers.
The
if I'm
record
not
numbers,
mistaken.
yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just
they're
saying.
asking for if we could find someone that we could just replace it with a BB-8 type. All right, guys, if you don't know, we start off very simple with Star Wars movie news. Everything that's happening in the world of the movie news. Rogue One, Episode 8, Episode 9, Force Awakens, the old movies, whatever they are, we'll talk about them. Mark, what do we got?
We got Benicio del Toro, Kristian. If you heard of him, you know he's a big-time actor, and he's in Episode 8. We still don't know clearly what kind of role he's playing, but even in this report and other ones, it's rumored it's some sort of villain. But what he had to say was more just on the basis of the fact that he's in the movie, and it doesn't matter if he's working on an independent project or if he's doing a huge blockbuster. He always approaches his role the same. He wants to commit to the character and make sure that he knows his lines. He also mentioned that he was a fan of Star Wars as a kid. He loved the original trilogy, and he was a fan of Episode 7. Well, that's convenient because he's in the sequel. So did you get anything real juicy out of this story, Kristian?
His honesty. I just love how honest he's like. I'm not a big Star Wars buff. He's like, but I like the movies a lot. Because I think the one that's called Episode 4 now. I don't need him to be a Star Wars buff. I need him to be Benicio del Toro, the amazing actor, and that's what he is. And so I know that whatever he's going to be doing, whether it is a villain, which I think we pretty much all assume it's going to be, I can't wait to see what villain that is. I still think he was kind of overlooked in regards to Sicario. I thought it was an amazing performance from last year. And I think that I want to see him as... I actually kind of want to see him as a Sith Lord. Never mind Knights of Ren. Never mind him as a bounty hunter. I want to see him as a Sith Lord. Because I think, to me, we haven't had one yet. There are no Sith Lords yet in the new... in the Episode 7, obviously. Why not? John, what do you think about his comments?
They are refreshing, and going to your point, you're absolutely right. We do not need the guy who's starring in the film to be a big fan of the property. We need somebody who's talented and really great. I use this example all the time, but it's true. Go back to that Jeremy Irons Dungeons & Dragons atrocity of a movie that we had, right? The guy responsible for getting that movie made and who eventually directed himself is like one of the world's greatest Dungeons & Dragons fans. Did not help in the least. We need somebody to come in here who is a great actor, who will bring it every single time. And what he said I thought was particularly telling about he approaches small indie roles and big motion pictures, the exact same. You watch him in a lot of these low budget films he does, he brings it 110%. You see him in the larger budget stuff, he brings it 110%. And he commits to it. One of my favorite performances of his, actually, if you've not seen it, go check out the film he did with Jason, I was going to say Jason Bateman. No, it's Jason Statham. Rhymes with Jason Bateman. And Brad Pitt called Snatch.
Oh, yeah.
He was so good. It's a supporting role in it, but he's so good. Or whether you're going back to
Usual
things like
Suspects,
Usual
man.
Suspects.
Yeah.
You know, the guy is just
Thought you were going to
always
say
there.
Excess Baggage with Alicia Silverstone.
So,
which
yeah,
I'm
I
not going to
love what
lie
he
is one of
said.
my favorites. I love that movie.
Yeah. Mark?
Look, it's great to hear that the dude is excited to be in the movie. I want them to be committing, but when he plays a villain, it usually isn't a one-note villain.
Nope.
There's a lot of emotional content going on there to where he's not just a straight bad guy. And just look at, even if he's a good guy, if he's a bad guy, watch Sicario. Like, we don't know what the hell to make of that character other than he's going through a lot emotionally, and as we slowly reveal the layers of him in that movie, maybe that's something you get to see where if he's playing a Sith Lord, I'm going to be thrilled to death. There might be a situation where he's playing some somebody who is emotionally conflicted about what his role in the universe is. Maybe that somebody is going to be mentoring somebody else who's conflicted, being Kylo Ren. So it'll be interesting to see, but it appears that you got to think he's going to be on the dark, at least starting out on the dark side of things.
I want him the whole time. Tiff?
Well, I mean, we talked about this, that when it first came up, I was like, I just want to see him hooded. I want to see him in a hood, lurking in the shadows. I think he would look awesome. The thing that I took away from the article was he said when it initially came out, the excitement surrounding it, he was like, I was scared. And then he talks about going into this movie like he goes into every other film. And that to me is something where it's honest and it's humble, and he's not a guy who's coming into this being like, oh, I'm Benicio del Toro, I don't care what the fans think. He realizes that this is a property that fans are really excited about, and he took account of that and then was like, okay, now I'm just going to do it like I do every other project. So he's going to bring it, and whatever character, whether he's light or dark, is going to be incredible.
I agree with that. I like when a guy is nervous about being on set because, I got to learn my lines, I got to fit in, but I like also that he is not in awe of anything. He's not walking around taking pictures, snapping selfies because he's on a Star Wars movie. He's going to come here to kick ass on set. That's what I want.
The guy's a seasoned pro. I mean, that's another reason. That's another guy you want, but you want another guy you remember from. Because Sicario was a great movie all in itself, but you remember Benicio del Toro.
Boyega's taking selfies with Benicio del Toro.
But that's a little. But
I'll say it's a good mix.
Yes, and he's like a mega. He's like a mega fan though, too. As where again, and as a young actor who's only been around for like a couple of years as far as his career goes. So Benicio del Toro has been around the block. He's going to bring an impact, and I'm sure that that's why they cast him, especially Rian Johnson. He knows how to cast his movies. He knows how to put the right people in the right role, so I think that's going to be the case. And we're going to get more interviews out of him because he's already given 4 or 5 good ones, and we haven't even
Well, it's like when the official announcement came out last week that Benicio del Toro is in episode. It's like we've known that for 4 months now because of Benicio del Toro.
Where he's like, oh, I'm in the movie. Oh, I'm a villain. Wait, was I supposed to say that? I wasn't supposed to say that. Sorry, guys.
All right. You should have seen the scene when I died. All right, what's next?
Well, someone who won't be snapping any selfies on a Star Wars set anytime soon is Rooney Mara. She's up for an Academy Award, but she was almost up for Rogue One. In an interview recently, she mentioned that she was scheduled to have some sort of meeting with Gareth Edwards, that they did get along very well. However, she never actually tested for a role in Rogue One, and a lot of that had to do with scheduling conflicts, or it just didn't fit right for her at that time in her career. So, Kristian, you read these comments, does it seem like she didn't want to be in it, or does it seem to you like it just really was a matter of schedule?
I think maybe a matter of both. I think it's possible that she read the script or heard about the character and maybe didn't interest her. Great. I would much rather someone look at the script and go, no, I don't really want to be in that, as opposed to going, oh, I'll just do it because it's Star Wars, Natalie Portman. That's what happened. And that's what happened to Natalie Portman. She did it because it was Star Wars. She did it for her career. She thought it was going to help her career. And she's even had interviews since then said it almost killed her career. So, because I don't think her heart was in it, and I think there was a lot of other things too. But with Rooney Mara, I want to see her in a Star Wars movie. I love her. She's one of my favorite actresses, and I think we had a Star Wars draft that we did when Episode 7 was announced, and I picked her on my roster because I wanted her.
Was she on your team?
I wanted her to be Asajj Ventress at the time. I thought that she'd be pretty interesting.
Oh, she'd been great for
that. But it just wouldn't match up with age and stuff too. But I didn't know what timeline and all that kind of stuff too. So in regards to having her in a movie eventually, I do think we're going to see Rooney Mara in a Star Wars movie. I don't know why. Call me optimistic, but I think that we will see her. I'm glad that if she didn't feel she was right for the role, that she passed. What do you think?
All I know is that I didn't win that draft. I think I got Mark Hamill in the first round, then I had Rue McClanahan in the third. It was not a good draft for this guy. But look, it doesn't do much for me either way because I'm so excited about the Rogue One cast that they did get. If they were a bunch of people I'd never heard of any of them, it might have been nice to have someone proven in a dramatic role like a Rooney Mara. But look, we already have such a great lineup of talent in Rogue One. I don't need to shoehorn anybody else in there. I don't care if it's Rooney Mara. She's a fantastic actress. Maybe she'll pop up in a Star Wars anthology film or maybe Episode 9 at some point if she wants to do that kind of material, but she's a great actress in her own right. I like the movie she's making. She was phenomenal in Carol, so keep doing that and then leave Star Wars to people who maybe want to be in it more.
Now, Tiff, do you think that she was probably up for the Felicity Jones role? Probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they said, that she actually did meet with Gareth Edwards. They got along really well. She has a really important thing for her that if she likes the director, then she's more inclined to want to work on the project. And she said it was a scheduling thing. And I believe that because I'm like, there are so many projects where it's like, who knows what other projects she has on the docket or that she's already working on. I mean, we even talked about with, was it Simon Pegg who was doing 2 different things and he was going to the set and doing The Force Awakens too. And you're like, for a guy like that, he's choosing to balance both sides. He didn't really even have to do that much in the movie. But I think if you're looking at her as the lead character of it, for someone who is such a like, I want to really get this character and work with the director, that if she's working on other projects and finding that balance, I appreciate it that she was like, I'm not even going to go and test for it because I don't think as an artist I would be able to make this project work.
John, do you think that also just the fact that her name was out there and that she was taking meetings, again, goes back to the point that we've made over and over, that look who they're looking at to be in these movies?
Oh yeah, I mean that's encouraging, because I'll tell you right now, I firmly believe, I've been saying this for a little while, I think Rooney Mara is one of the 5 best actresses working in the business today. If you did not see her and what she did in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, a film that everybody wrote off right away because it'll never be as good as the original and all that kind of stuff, and then she came in and she just took the world by storm. And then obviously she was really great in Carol. I keep forgetting the name of that movie she was in with
Side Effect?
Side Effect,
Yep.
or something. Yeah, was the name of it Side Effect?
Yep.
I didn't like the movie,
But
but
she was
she
great.
was incredible in that movie. But it goes back to what we often say. Look, it's never a mistake to add talent, but what is even more important than talent? Fit.
Yeah.
Is it the right person for the role? And it's hard for us to sit here and say, would she have been good for whatever role? Number one, because we don't know what the role was. And number two, even if we did know what the role was, we don't know anything about the role. It's like when people came out and say, oh, they should have got Bryan Cranston to be Lex Luthor in the new Super. Well, you say that, but you don't know what kind of Lex Luthor they're going for. We don't know what's a fit. So if Rooney Mara's looking at it and she's saying this isn't really a great fit, and keep this in mind too, she's just coming off of getting burned with a decision in being in Pan.
Oh, yeah.
And
Right.
so, like, she's probably a little sensitive about making sure she's doing what's right for her career. She's super young, super talented. In the next 15 years, there are going to be 2 Academy Awards on her mantle. I absolutely guarantee it. And so she's probably really, really sensitive right now about making sure that she is absolutely the right person for a role before she'll entertain it. And I respect that.
That's a great point, too, because, like, if Tiffany wants to do a sketch with me, then we can film the sketch and I'll tweet about it and then it's done, right? But if you do a Star Wars movie, the shooting is the easy part. Like, you got to
Yep.
show up, you got to give interviews, you have to go on press tours. Maybe that was the part of the
that's a good
equation
point.
that she just like looking at the contract, like, look, I love working with you, I want to make this movie, but all this other crap I got to do, I'm just not into
That
it.
isn't a part of any other film franchise
Yeah.
in the world. Like,
Right.
like every film franchise junkets and has some tour. But this is like a 2-year-long commitment of appearing in every single country in the world
Yeah.
on multiple. I mean, it's a big, big commitment.
And you
And
see
if
the
it
craze.
does well, you want it to be more than that.
Yeah.
Sure, and then coming off of that craze of what happens with The Force Awakens, she's probably just like, I don't really want that right now. I love the opportunity, and I really do think she's going to pop up in one down the line. It's just a matter of which
That'd be
one.
cool.
All right, what's next?
Okay, well, we take you to another part of the world that I really have problems pronouncing. It's going to be set pics from episode 8. And Kristian, I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I see some orange cones. I see some scaffolding. I see a couple like futuristic-looking Star Warsy buttons, and then some tents where it looks like they're cooking meth. I have no idea what is happening in these pics. Can you make anything out of these first kind of set pics from episode 8?
The only thing that I get is the bottom right one, or I don't know what we have up there, but
Right, those doors.
The one with the doors
Yep.
with the little mechanical thing in it. For me, that is look. I actually really enjoyed in episode 1 when they went through in Tatooine and like the setup of the village and the
Yeah.
way what they do also in Rebels when they're visiting the villages and you see that kind of the layout of towns. I hope we see a Star Wars town in episode 8. Like we didn't really see much of that in episode 7. I mean, we got, Jakku really didn't have anything on it, and the other Maz Kanata's castle was the castle, and that was about it. That's really all we got. So I want to see more world building in episode 8, and I think that this is kind of a testament to the fact that we will get more world building. Tiffany, what do you think of the
I mean,
pictures?
I think the biggest part to me was that they're talking about these are actual storefronts that are working stores, that they're shutting them down to shoot all of this stuff, which
awesome.
to me, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a really crucial set. There's going to be a lot of acting and scenes and things shot here. Otherwise, they could have just shot, like, built out one little door and put it in a studio somewhere. They were like, no, we want it outdoors and we want to take over this whole street and really make it feel like this world, which is to your point, Kristian, where I do think they're really focusing on building out the world. And I mean, it's like you saw stuff from Lord of the Rings where it's like, oh, there's the Shire and there's one of the little doors. I guarantee that if this like looks awesome, people in
They'll
those
keep
shops
it.
are going to be like, "Can we just like keep keep it up for a little bit?" Because guess what? If I went there, I'd be like, "I want to go to that street," and of course I'm going to go into those stores.
You are absolutely right, because especially if there's a big moment that happens there.
Oh, yeah.
If there's something that really happens, like they're going there, there's a big battle or there's big knowledge, people are absolutely want
Yep.
to
Christian and I are going to go there, and we're going to take a picture of him with a lightsaber and me with my arm cut off.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is what
This
happened.
is where it happened.
Yeah.
John, what do you think of the pictures?
What I find very intriguing about this picture, it does seem like in almost every Star Wars movie, we visit first class or upper class, I should say, cultures and worlds, and lower class cultures and world. We have Coruscant, Tatooine, right? Very rarely do we see like the middle class in the galaxy. This seems like a
Great
good
point.
Yeah.
West End London
Yeah.
middle class kind of world, and that's
Yeah.
the first thing that jumped out at me. I look at it like, I feel like this is something we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Like just where the people of this universe actually live and work.
It's Laura Dern's
and that's
house.
really kind of cool. Yeah,
It might
really
be.
is. It feels really kind of cool.
Mark.
I mean, look, it's set photos. It's early. What I get is that there's going to be the same shroud of secrecy we got from episode 7, where these are set pics and we cannot see a set that really looks like anything other than something that is being hidden from the public. I love the story. I don't know if y'all covered it last week about the drones that are flying around. There's drones that are episode 8 drones, and they're flying around the set in Croatia, and they are authorized to shoot down other drones that are not episode 8 off because they might be taking pictures and
Is
stuff.
that true?
You don't mess with Disney.
Yeah.
That's
You
great.
don't
That
have
would
to
be
do
great,
it.
scary
because that
part
didn't
is-
happen in episode 7.
The drones are manufactured by a company called Skynet. Now that gives me some apprehension, but no, it's a
Lies.
true story.
That's
yeah.
really great.
Well, there was a drone that revealed pictures from the Force Awakens set early.
Yeah, shoot it
yeah,
down.
that's why I shoot it down. Did you
Shoot it down.
Do you have any other thoughts on this? besides
Not
that?
really, no.
All right, then let's go to the next one.
Next story.
I do have some
The
thoughts
Disney
on our
Air
next
Force.
story
I love
because
this
it
story.
appears that the Rogue One trailer is going to be a little bit of a darker tone. There's some reports coming out this week that we are working on a final cut of the first Rogue One teaser trailer, and that what we see is going to be something maybe a little more ominous, a little darker, like a war film, which we were promised when we saw all that first presentation stuff at Star Wars Celebration. Christian, you hear darker tone. Are you thinking that in that darker tone somewhere is going to be a guy that has mechanical breathing and a red lightsaber?
Well, the first thing I'm thinking is, how does Jordan Mason of Cinelinx know this? That's the first thing I want to know. Like, how does he know? How does he have information? So I don't know where he's getting his information or how accurate it is, but let's say that it is. I think that this is a great thing for them to go in the dark, because again, from what we got at D23 and the information that we got at not D23 Celebration,
yeah.
when we got that when they
Teaser.
showed that little teaser, you heard screaming and yelling of soldiers in pain, and they said this is a war movie. I think this is a perfect opportunity, and no, this movie should be PG-13. It shouldn't be R. Let's not even get into that conversation. But I think because of what Deadpool has done in
Yeah.
general, that it is an adults. We don't have to say rated R. It is an adult superhero movie. This could be Disney saying this is our purely adult Star Wars movie. Now you're going to have Vader. And you're still going to get kids in there because it's
Yeah.
PG-13 and it's still Star Wars. But as far as the tone goes, they're letting people know that it's not just the Force Awakens tone. And I think same way that Marvel has set up their cinematic universe, that everything's a different type of tone of movie, and there's different genre movie, as where you have the heist film with Ant-Man, and the Bourne Identity type spy thriller with Captain America: Winter Soldier. That Rogue One this is our war film for Star Wars, and I think it's a great idea. I think it will be dark, regardless of if he heard it or not, and I think the first trailer should be dark. John?
Yeah, I mean, look, if this was not Rogue One, and they were saying, okay, the next Star Wars movie, all right, I would be
Solo, you
concerned. Yeah, or almost anything else in the Star Wars world. And they say, okay, the trailer is going to be dark. My first reaction would be concern. It's like, please tell me that Star Wars is just jumping on the everything's got to be dark.
Right.
40-Year-Old Virgin 2, it's got to be dark. Everything has to be dark.
STDs.
But the concept, I love that. But
Moving
the
on.
fact of the matter is, it is a war film.
Yeah.
And as such, a darker tone is the natural extension of what that movie should be. If I like the analogy you were making, if Captain America: Winter Soldier was their Bourne movie, this is Star Wars' Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
And if that's the case, there's going to be really dark elements about it, so that the light and the hope within it can shine even brighter. And if that's the case, then this makes sense. This fits, and this is natural, not forced, which is what we find a lot of film franchises are trying to do now. It's like force an R rating or force dark, whatever. This is natural, and so I'm totally good with it.
And there's a reason why they brought on people who have worked on Saving Private Ryan and Zero Dark
Yes.
30 and Black Hawk Down. You hear those 3 movies, and you don't think you're getting Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
They're bringing you on because that's the kind of tone that they want. What do you think, Tiff?
When I initially saw this story, I was like, I didn't really care about the fact that he's saying it's darker because we all knew that was going to be the
Right.
case. I mean, like you said, at Celebration, it was like since day one, Rogue One has been talked about as a war film. And every actor that we've talked to or casually mentioned, they're like, it is a war movie. So I knew that was the case. The interesting part to me was, I guess they were saying that there's 2 different edits of the trailer going around within Disney internally, and they're getting reactions that way. And that to me was cool because I was like, that means people are seeing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who I know or who I can talk to like get the scoop on it. But that was the part of it that was more exciting to me because then that also means we are much closer to getting to see footage ourselves.
Look, it's the job of every Star Wars movie to tell a news story that we haven't heard, regardless of what time period that tale might take place in. But the best way to sell said movie is by using nostalgia and playing on things that we know and love. Now, what The Force Awakens did great is it used that happy John Williams music at the end. If you saw this big Star Wars, Chewie, we're home, that kind of stuff. With this movie, maybe they go to the other side. Maybe they play the Empire theme, which we haven't heard in its full glory. Or maybe you see Darth Vader at the end of that. A great way to make a dark trailer is to put Darth Vader at the very end, at least hear him breathing, see a red lightsaber or something, and play that Empire Imperial March.
I think you're right. I think it's more than breathing, though. I think that what you should do is almost similar to what they did in Battlefront, but you have like whoever are maybe just 2 rebel soldiers in the middle of a battle, and they have something, they're running down a hallway, and they think that they've made it, and they
He's at
open
the
it
end
up,
of it.
and he's just there with the saber, and then slash Rogue One.
Yeah.
You go hands up in the air. I mean, you
He's
kidding me?
wearing Apollo
Yeah.
Creed shorts.
But playing a little bit of hindsight here, this is the movie. Rogue One is the movie that, in hindsight, I wish we were hearing that cast members from the raid were in,
Yeah.
and not Episode
Yeah.
7 and the way
The way
they
they
were
were
used
used. I'm
there.
with you.
Like
Yeah.
this would have been the movie
Yeah.
to use.
Ah,
them.
John, tell it to Conja Club.
What's next?
Oh, you had to reopen that wound.
Well, coming up next, speaking of Conja Club, we are talking about Episode 7. Gwendolyn Christie is talking about her role as Captain Phasma. In an interview recently, she didn't get too much into what we might see from Captain Phasma in the future, though she did mention you are going to see her in Episode 8, and she talked about how important it was for her to, A, be in the movie. She really wanted to be in the film, and also how cool the armor was, that it was, yes, it was a female role. We knew it was a female. It wasn't overly sexualized. It looked like some badass warrior is inside of that. Kristian, you read the interview. A, did you like her comments, but B, did you also think that maybe we still want to know a little bit more about this character?
Yes, and I think that what we're going to do with her, because I think this is, I think Disney and Lucasfilm have heard the complaints about that she was not utilized as well as she should have been, or even marketed for that matter. I think that they will use her more. I don't think that we should see her face in Episode 8. I'd rather see it in 9, and I think that for 8 we're going to learn more about her, learn more about the relationship with her and Finn, and I still think she's going to be the one who's hunting both Poe and Finn down, and I think that that's going to be his main antagonist, I think. So let's learn more about her. I know it's Gwendolyn Christie. I'll get more about her character at the very end of it. But what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I wasn't leaving the theater any of the 5 times I saw The Force Awakens particularly disappointed that we didn't see more of Phasma. I thought that was the weakest part of a film that I did love. Watching that is seeing that, okay, we're just going to put a gun in her head and she's just going to turn down the shield for everything. And so I get those kind of complaints. I would like to see Captain Phasma do something of some sort of prominence and not be just kind of a really cool-looking administrator. So if we get it, great. If we don't get it, I'm going to be okay with that. There's so much in this universe that we need to see in the next 2 movies. Captain Phasma is not, nor has she ever been at the top of my list, but it's an interesting character.
John?
I don't care. No, this is in the midst of the millions of things that I loved about Episode 7. The Captain Phasma character was one of the royal pooch jobs that they really screwed up. Captain Phasma has no more significance than the one stormtrooper with the red sash on his shoulder who stopped Obi-Wan and Luke to say, these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Right.
That's it, except that she had cooler looking silver armor. That's it. Other than that, this character is totally useless, despite the fact that it's a cool-looking character, despite the fact that it's got Gwendolyn Christie, who I believe is one of the better performers on Game of Thrones. She's amazing. Of course, they did nothing with her. And so we literally, here's the thing. out of all the guys wearing armor, we care more about TR-8R. That's what they call him?
The guy who
Traitor.
takes on Finn.
Yeah, the guy who yells out traitor, right? We care far more about him
6
than we do.
Isn't 6 his name?
I can't remember.
I'm
The
looking it
fans
up.
named him TR-8
No. Yeah,
traitor.
but then he was
They gave
confirmed.
him
But then he was
the
confirmed
official
in
word?
canon. Well, he was confirmed in canon in one of the young.
Oh,
adult-
that's right.
Yeah.
And he knew Finn.
TR-8R.
But seriously, let's just call it what it is. Captain Phasma is an irrelevant character, a completely irrelevant throwaway character, as throwaway as any stormtrooper gets.
For
that
now,
gets shot
though,
in the
don't
hull.
you think?
For
Yeah.
now, for now. But because that's the way they handled it and they botched it, that's my feelings towards the
Right.
character going into episode 8. Now, episode 8 could change her mind and give her relevance, but they're going to have to do a lot because not only did they completely not use her, they made her totally impotent. Like, wait a minute, you're this big, high-ranking military officer, but you folded and you're treason. You were responsible for the downfall of the entire Starkiller base because turn down the shields or shoot you. Okay, boom.
Right.
So now not only is she an irrelevant character,
Weak.
she's weak.
Yeah.
And so if they want to make me care about her going into episode 8, they're going to have to do a lot of work in
I
episode 8.
understand that for sure. Tiff?
I mean, I think that there's a chance that there were scenes that got cut out that didn't feel necessary for The Force Awakens, and that would have built her character a little bit more. I'm kind of thinking of it when she talks about it in the interview. I mean, if you were approached at the time to play Darth Vader, no one sees his face. He's in a suit for a long time, and so it's like, who knows what the pitch was to her? If that was, they're like, it's going to be a character like that. We're going to develop it throughout the film series. We'll see when the actual full story comes out. So I do think there is a chance that there was a plan with this character. I don't know that it was executed very well in The Force Awakens, but again, it could have been scenes that were just like, they're not adding to this story, so let's cut them out, and that minimized her character, and we are going to see a lot more in 8.
Okay, so a quick update. I'm not great at reading license plates and telling what a vanity plate is, but now I get it. So TR-8R is the fan nickname, and it's Traitor,
Yes.
and it's FN-2199 is the Stormtrooper's official title.
Well, no, but in that canon novel, his name's it's like
Rick?
sixes or red. I gotta look. I gotta look it up. It was confirmed. He was one of the
I
soldiers.
thought it was the TR one, not TR, the FN one.
But he was
read.
one of the soldiers that trained. They had a nickname. He was one of the soldiers that trained with Finn. It's in the Journey to the Force Awakens young adult.
Let us know in the comments below
Yeah,
if you
you'll
guys know.
tell us
'cause
right away. I'll look it up.
I'm sure we're getting them in the comments below right now too.
All right, what's next?
Well, remember earlier when I said I don't like when cast members are tweeting pics, and if your name is Mark Hamill, you tweet whatever the hell you want. We've had some cool tweets, not just from Mr. Hamill, but also
Dude.
from Ryan Johnson, the director of Episode 8, early in the shooting process. We see here Mark Hamill with that adorable puppy. It turned out to be his daughter's creature that's hanging out with him, so we get some cute doggy pics. Ryan Johnson had a cool tweet, just him doing a crossword puzzle on the second week of production. So, Kristian, these are just some fun little tidbits of what is not going to be titled Space Bears permanently, but that's the working title for Episode 8.
How dare you, Mark Hamill, trying to steal Gary's thunder? Gary being, of course, Carrie Fisher's dog. No, you know what I love about this? I love that this is basically them saying, yeah, we know we're going to show Luke a lot. We know that we're not hiding him like we did last time because there's no reason to hide him this time. We know that he's in it. You know he's going to be in it. Here's him. He's tweeting out with a beard and a dog. As we get closer, we're going to learn more. And you have to promote him. You have to put him on posters. You have to really sell that you didn't get Luke Skywalker in the last one, but you're getting him in this one. I think that this is that actually is part of it. What do you think, John?
I don't know how to feel about it. Okay, first of all, we know we're going to get a lot more Luke Skywalker in the second one, and that's great. Part of me wonders if they should take an old Jackie Chan drunken master approach and just have him be totally intoxicated the whole time.
Right.
Concentrate. I think that would be amazing. It's teaching him
Hammered on death sticks.
Totally, yeah, he's totally hammered all the time. I think it's a great picture, and you're right. I think. Look, they knew what they were doing going into Episode 7. And did I want to see him pop up in the woods when the lightsaber goes flying past Rey? Not Rey. When it goes flying past Kylo.
Yeah.
I wanted it to camera cut, and there's Luke Skywalker standing in the woods. And of course I want to see that. But I respect what they did with it, and I actually, at the end of the day, I like it. But they knew going into it, this is how we're going to handle Luke in Episode 7. And we know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be unhappy that Luke is in so little of it. And so I think they knew going into 8, a lot of our buzz marketing, a lot of our social media marketing, a lot of our marketing in general We are going to show them exactly what you were saying, Kristian. I think you were right on the money. We are going to show them a lot of Luke. We're going to show you're going to get Luke. The promise of Luke Skywalker from the opening crawl in Episode 7, we are going to deliver on that in Episode 8. And so I think we're going to see a good amount of Luke, and I think you're going to see a good amount of him in all the marketing leading up to it.
How cool is it for Rian Johnson, though, that he gets to show us and introduce us to powerful Luke?
That's going to be awesome.
That, I mean,
that is so cool.
And what does it say about J.J. Abrams also, too? Because J.J. Abrams is a big Luke Skywalker guy. The fact that he was able to say, all right, even though I want to do Luke, let's save him, and then you get him. Like, that to me alone is pretty awesome. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very exciting. I'm a huge Luke Skywalker is the greatest hero of all time to me, and so seeing those tweets, which came from Mark Hamill's Twitter account. So, like, I don't know if Disney came to like, hey, can you tweet some more stuff from the set? My favorite.
He's pretty active on Twitter though, too.
Yeah. He's great. He's great interacting with fans as much as he possibly can when he's not being a Jedi. My favorite tweet in all this, though, as much as I do love dogs now, is Rian Johnson, because it's from the beginning of week 2, and the guy's doing a crossword puzzle on something that is clearly from the Star Wars universe, and it just shows, as well as the Mark Hamill picks, that the cast is just, they're having fun doing this. They're not letting the pressure, the intense pressure that you should be feeling doing Episode 8, it's not overwhelming them. They're a family. They're having fun working on this picture so far. That's a huge up for me.
Tiff?
Yeah, I think it definitely is just a fun lightheartedness, and there is this level of, you know, it had to be so secret for The Force Awakens, and not saying that Episode 8 is not going to be kept very secretive as well, but it's like, okay, people know what actors are going to be on set. They know that we're shooting right now. We're not trying to keep super secret where we are because it's on a public street. So I feel like that's the fun part, where it's like, okay, now the actors are allowed to post stuff. Like even John Boyega, like I love the fact that a lot of them are posting fun things where it's like, oh, I'm doing this, or old pictures from the set. So I think it's just something where it's a different way to connect with the Star Wars universe and feel that they are also fans of what they're working on.
All right, before we move on, I know that the fans are probably screaming and yelling at us in the comments already, but the character was called Nines.
Yes.
Nines, that was
Nines.
it, yes.
Oh, because 2 9s in his name?
And well, yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
You got the nickname. So there you go, Nines. All right, moving on. What do you
Don't
got?
call him 999. That's bad. Our next story is actually good, especially if you live in London or Iceland, because maybe you can be an extra in a Star Wars movie. They're doing casting calls for a Star Wars production that is going to be filming in Iceland. That's his heavily at the fact that Episode 8 is going to go to Iceland to film some scenes. So maybe we are going to another planet. There's already so many planets. We know that the production is going to be going from its current location over back to Kerry, Ireland, which is where Skellig Michael Island is. They're going to be going to London for some point, and then back to Iceland. Now, let me tell you guys this, right? A lot of the reason why I get to talk on this show is through StarWarsNewsNet.com. They break a lot of stories. They aggregate all the other ones that you'll see online. If you go there right now and you live in London or Iceland, you want to be involved in this, I think they're still hiring extras or experienced crew members, so they have all that information. You can check it out for yourself. Kristian, we're going to Iceland.
Yeah, I love it. And what I hope we get from this is a brand new planet that we learn new things about, because Jakku, it's Tatooine Part 2. It really was. There's nothing exciting about that planet at all, and both Maz Kanata's planet and where Starkiller Base, you didn't learn anything about the planets. Like I'd like to learn a little bit more and see a brand new planet, or a planet that we've heard about and maybe it was Legends, or maybe it's something that was introduced in Rebels that we get to go back to. Iceland is gorgeous, and it would be a perfect Star Wars planet. So I love it. Tiff?
Yeah, I mean, I think when they were looking at some of the pictures, or when I was looking at some of the pictures, I was just like, wow, like, one, the world is so beautiful, and there's so many interesting places that look like other planets just because I've never been there before. And so I love that, again, they're finding actual practical locations that they can build stuff out on that, one, makes it looks that much better for us in the films, and two, helps the actors, because it's like you get on a set like that, and you can imagine that you're on a different planet and that you're in this totally different environment. So I love that. And I mean, obviously, the acting stuff, one of the addresses is in California, and I was like, maybe I should send my stuff just to see.
Mark? Sorry.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, if anybody does send their stuff in and you guys get it, definitely tweet us, because that would be awesome.
Yes.
That would be sweet to be anything in a Star Wars movie. It's nothing I want to do because I would totally ruin the entire production. But my brother has been to Iceland a number of times. Apparently, it's very cold there. There is a Pizza Hut there, and it's a great location if you're shooting in outer space or a new planet that we haven't met before. It might be Hoth. Could be going back to Hoth.
On the other side, you mean?
Who
like,
knows?
I mean, who's to say?
Maybe
Hoth
Luke is going
cold
back.
the whole
Maybe
time?
Luke made friends with Wampas. Maybe they're not all dicks. Maybe he wants
So
to hang out.
You don't think it doesn't necessarily, because again, even looking at certain pictures, it doesn't have to be a total ice planet though too, just because of Iceland. There's places that
Yeah,
are not.
but I
covered
mean,
in
here's
ice.
the thing. This is what I would love to see a world in Star Wars that has more than one climate.
Yeah.
Because so far, every freaking planet in the Star Wars universe has one climate.
Yeah.
Like Naboo had one climate. Hoth had one climate. Jakku has one climate. Tatooine has one climate. The closest thing we've gotten to a multi-climate world was Starkiller Base. And they had forests and they had frozen tundra, so that was the first
But it was still-
multi-climate
yeah.
thing. But it's not even really technically it's a
Yeah,
world.
I
It's
mean,
a battle station.
I hear Alderaan is beautiful this time of year.
Oh, too soon.
All right.
Too soon.
All right, moving on.
Well, let's talk about episode 7 coming out when you can enjoy it anytime you want. That would be a digital copy. You might be able to get it on iTunes even before it comes out on Blu-ray. What Disney technically usually does with the Marvel movies is that they'll release it on iTunes a few weeks before the Blu-rays come out. So it's looking like April 5th is the day that the Blu-ray version comes out, meaning that right around the Ides of March, when Caesar got stabbed by Brutus, that anniversary is going to be when you might be able to get Star Wars Episode 7. I think we're all going on iTunes that day to make sure.
I'm not. I mean, I know that a lot of people are, and a lot of people watch their movies this way, and I think it's a smart move for them to do it. But I'm waiting for the Blu-ray. I'm gonna wait for the. I mean, I think you get all the special features and everything too from iTunes.
You get a
I
lot of
believe it's
special
like a 3
features.
disc.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah.
3
You get
disc.
that on
feature.
iTunes also.
I
Too?
some movies will release.
Right.
You pay this and get this, and you'll get some bonus
Yes.
features as well.
But not as much
But
as
it's
you do on
not-
the disc. That's
yeah,
why.
exactly.
That's why I want to wait for.
You're
Let's
gonna
be
wait 3
honest.
weeks.
Let's be honest.
Really?
You're not going to buy both of them.
You're
No, I
buying
won't.
both.
No, I won't. I'm just gonna get
You
the Blu-ray.
can get it on iTunes and watch
Yeah.
it on your big screen.
and then get the Blu-ray and then just download the code.
When we're talking
But-
about watching it
but
at
that's
home
like saying-
on
that's
like
HD,
saying-
like you're gonna be like,
I'm
oh
not
man, I
paying
gotta buy
attention.
it.
That's
That's
tell
like
you,
saying, why would I bother spending the money to rent a tux and put in for a limousine and go to the world premiere when I can just watch it in 2 weeks? What? I mean, why would I do that?
You're gonna get the iTunes and the Blu-ray.
I probably will.
Yeah,
Really?
I probably
I will
will.
too.
That's
I mean,
why
'cause
they
remember-
do this 3 weeks in advance, so they know we can't wait to see the movie
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I'll get it just to watch, just so I can watch the movie again. And then probably not the week the Blu-rays come out, but 2 or 3 weeks after the Blu-rays come out, I'll probably grab a set but I'd be grabbing the set just for all those bonus features.
Yeah.
But with 3 discs, I'm trusting there's going to be a lot of good features on that.
And we're gonna cover that.
When
in
you
a
buy
second.
it on iTunes, and it's like, okay, I'm traveling. Oh, I'm just gonna watch The Force Awakens again real quick.
You
It's
know,
fine.
we should do a special when those Blu-rays come out, like a 2-hour special, just talking about all the
We
extras.
should. Yeah, after we
just
see
talk
them and
about
everything
that would
too.
be.
I think,
that'd be really
we'll
fun.
probably do that on this show as well. And then the other question we keep getting that we should probably just answer right now is that yes, we are doing the commentaries for Empire Strikes Back and for Return of the Jedi, and now for The Force Awakens.
I can't be blamed for the delay anymore.
No, you cannot.
Just so you
but
know.
There's a reason. There's a reason why we had the delay. But I promise you that very, very soon, we'll schedule it. And Empire will.
How many have we done now? 4?
We've done.
We're just
4.
2. We're just 2
Yeah,
short, right?
Well, three short.
Once
Force
With
Awakens,
Force Awakens
comes out,
so
yeah.
we will absolutely. We just got to get our schedules in line. Then we're going to do Empire. I would say anywhere between the next 2 weeks to a month, we will definitely have that one at least done. Mark, what do you think about this? You're going to get it on iTunes?
Yeah, and we also want to reassure the fans out there that you can blame John Campea for the next 2 days if you want to.
Yes, true.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to resist getting it on iTunes because I want to see the movie again. Dude, it's 3 weeks. You're not going to be able to wait 21 days.
Look,
I've
if they
seen
put
it
on
five
iTunes,
totally
and I
agree.
think you'll agree with me. If they put it on iTunes and it's $29.95 on iTunes.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah, then I'll walk
It's going to
away.
be expensive.
But if it's going to be $19, whatever, I'll probably grab it.
Here's
$10.
if it's $30 on iTunes, here's me. One finger doing this, the other finger downloading the movie.
Right. You're like, but fine, you got me. All right. What's next? Speaking of Blu-rays.
I'm gonna put it on the company card. Speaking of Blu-rays, they maybe 3 weeks after Kristian buys it on iTunes, you will be able to get the Blu-ray, and there's no official word on when it's going to arrive, so we can't confirm any of this stuff. But an update to the official Blu-ray website suggests that the movie's going to be released in a 3-disc pack. So for your hard-earned money, you're going to get 1 DVD, 2 Blu-rays, but we're not done. If you act right now, we'll throw in 2 separate digital copies of the movie. That's a lot of copies of Star Wars Episode 7, and I'm sure there's going to be a boatload of special features to go along with this.
Thank you. This is what I want. I hate getting these Blu-rays that I've been looking forward to for so long, and it's just like, you get one thing, the director talking over the movie for like 15 minutes, and then he goes to sleep. It's like there's nothing else. There's no special features. It's just a kind of BS that they just throw in there. 3 discs for Star Wars. That's what we want. They know that's what fans want. That's why I can wait, because I know that I'm going to get all the special features. You're not going to be able to hear from me. I'm shutting my cell phone off, and I'm just going to watch all the special features 2 or 3 times, watch the movie a bunch of times. So, yes, this is exactly what I want. Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm concerned.
Your wife.
Yeah, something you just said that I must have missed before. That
What?
It's 3 discs, but one's just the regular DVD and 2 are Blu-ray. So really, it's a 2-disc set.
Right.
Really, now my enthusiasm's just come down a little bit because I thought it was 3.
DVD.
There's the DVD, which is just going to be the
Blu-ray,
movie. Then the Blu-ray
and a special
will have
feature disc.
There'll be 2. So I thought it was going to be like a 3 Blu-ray disc with like 2
Wait,
discs
so
of
it's
features.
coming
always
with a
do that,
non-Blu-ray and a Blu-ray?
Yes, it's coming with a
A lot-
DVD and a Blu-ray.
Yeah, a lot of
weird.
cases. No, a lot of
Then,
movies do that,
it's not
too.
uncommon, but
Yeah.
I misunderstood it before.
You thought it was.
So
You
I
thought
thought
it
it
was
I'm
a
still
movie.
excited. I thought it was 2 bonus Blu-ray
Yeah,
discs.
so did I.
I think you're
Now
gonna
that
get a
I
lot
know
of
that
bonus.
it's one,
Yeah,
a little less enthused.
Okay, well, let me see.
Still
if this,
excited.
If this butters your bread, let me know. I think that, and a little bluebird told
You
me.
make
I think
me very uncomfortable when you
saw
say
it
that. You
somewhere.
say it to me all the
Come
time.
on, buddy. Let me butter your bread, John Campbell.
Take a silence
You're
all
gonna
lamps.
see
No.
Is I think you're going to get up to 7 deleted scenes. That's what I read somewhere online this morning. I
Yeah.
don't know how reputable the source was, but
It was from
you're
the
going to get some
editors, yeah.
deleted scenes, which is that's like the kind of stuff we want to see. Maybe we get to see why Phasma was
Yeah.
so like, okay, the shields go down.
Well, but
where's
then
the
do we
trash
think those
compactor?
scenes that if there are going to be deleted scenes, but are those deleted scenes then going to be canon or not?
Well, they already are, because a lot of them.
I
are.
thought deleted
Well,
scenes
you
were
don't know
canon.
what the deleted scenes are.
If they're in the
finish,
novel,
my loves.
if the deleted scenes are in the novelization, then
yes,
it's canon.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean that they're in the novel. There's
no,
some
that's right,
scene-
that's right.
Like there was one scene that we talked about. I got really aggressive. I was like, there was
No,
one
which
scene.
one? Which one?
There was the one scene they talk about with Maz Kanata and mentioning
Force.
And the
something about the
Stormtroopers.
Force.
That,
Yes.
that will not be canon.
That's not in the book.
I'm
Yeah.
dying to see that scene, though. I
too.
really hope that's right. For those who don't know what we're talking about, a couple of visual effects artists in the movie confirmed that they did shoot a scene where they're down in the catacombs, if you
Yeah.
want to call them, down that basement, and she hands the lightsaber to Finn, and Han Solo's there. Stormtroopers then come into that hallway, and Maz Kanata uses the Force to bring the ceiling down on top of them.
Right.
I want to see
And
that.
then she says, I know the Force. She doesn't say that she's a Jedi.
Yeah, she goes,
but
I
she
may not
knows
be a
the
Jedi,
Force.
but
Yeah.
I know the Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she kind of hints at it anyway.
Yeah,
So
but I want to see it.
Okay, that is the end of everything going on in the world of Star Wars movie news. Now it's time for What's the Deal with Canon? Canon! We are going to go over everything in the world of Star Wars that is not necessarily the movies, but ties back into it, whether it's TV shows, video games, comic books. We had Kanan issue number 11 on here, but unfortunately myself and Tiffany, who honestly were the only ones who are going to read it anyway, didn't get a chance to get to it, so we'll cover that next week.
Yep.
But Mark, what do we start with?
We're going to start with Rebels. The episode was The Honorable Ones. And Kristian, you got a chance to check this episode out. What was your take on it?
My take was that we covered it on the Rebels after show, myself and David Griffin. And I'll say the same thing that I said over there was I was watching this episode, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, so we were doing Enemy Mine now with Star Wars.
I was about to ask. That looked exactly like Enemy
Did you
Mine.
not see it yet?
I was supposed to watch it last night, and
I'm
something
going to
came
spoil
up.
something for you then.
I saw it.
Not all the way through, but I won't spoil it. What I will say is that watching it, I'm going, okay, it's a little predictable to me. Okay, I knew that was going to happen. Great. And then the last 5 seconds of this episode, Tiff, you saw it?
Yeah.
So the last 5 seconds of the episode, I went, oh, wait a minute. So that's what all that's why they were doing all that stuff. That's where that
Definitely
can go,
seed
because there's a
planting.
certain character now that is going to go through a way different arc than I thought they were going to go in, and they have to play it kind of that way, and it made the episode that much more. I went up going from I don't know if I like this episode to really enjoying the episode. How'd you feel?
I really liked it. I mean, I think that the beginning of it and how it plays out is a little bit predictable, but I still really liked it. There were a couple moments where I was just like, because we don't really get a lot of quality quiet time with Zeb
Right.
on the show. And this episode, I think you really got to see a different side of him.
Yep.
And the interaction and his interaction with
Callus.
Yeah, Callus, and then just some of the things that they talked about. And there was even a moment that I was like, Callus knows his name.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, where he knows his full name. And you're like, okay, so there's so much more going on here that I think that sometimes you gloss over because you're like, it's Rebels, it's an animated show. But they're layering a lot of stuff that I think even I miss and I don't give them enough credit for.
Right.
And that last scene, I think, is definitely one of those things where you're like, oh, and the little thing that he has with him. You know, the
Fair?
no,
Which one?
The thing that he takes with him
Oh, right,
from
right,
the planet.
right,
I'm like,
right.
that definitely is, I feel like an Easter egg down the line is going to mean something.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so,
but I got to
too.
know.
Yeah.
At any point, is there a space whale?
There were no space
No
whales.
space
What about
whales.
space bears?
No space
space
bears.
bears.
Jedi kittens?
No Jedi kittens.
Giant space cave dino lizard thing.
Oh yeah, but that thing's cool. That
Yeah.
is cool.
I'll take that.
Now the other thing is, so if you're watching Rebels, if you're not, we've been waiting for Old Master. It looks like the Old Master's coming in the next episode, from what we're seeing in the trailers. And if you want to go over to the YouTube channel over at Star Wars, if you go to Rebels Recon, they do a nice little preview of what's happening next week. And they also there's a little scene with Ezra and Yoda. Do you want to check it out? It's there. All right, what's next?
Old Master is that guy, right? The guy with
Darth
the,
Maul,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He got cut in half, but he's back.
Yes.
ABC aired a special on the 60th anniversary. Can you believe that Disneyland is already 60 years old? It looks fantastic, and it's about to look a lot better in a few years because Star Wars Land is coming. They gave some details. Most of this is concept art, some renderings. They were short on what the actual rides are going to entail, but they did confirm that you will get to do some sort of function in the Millennium Falcon. Maybe you're in the cockpit, maybe you're one of the gunners, maybe you're just playing that weird chess game with all those creatures on there. That one's going to be a blast. There's also going to be one that puts you in the middle of a battle between the First Order and the Resistance. That sounds like a blast. And then if you just want to go eat at one of their themed restaurants, there's going to be some shopping opportunities, all with the Star Wars gloss all over it. Kristian, have you gotten your season passes yet?
No, and I want to, but let me play the role of John Campy here. I got nothing out of this. I got nothing out of the. I got nothing out of that I didn't know already. I didn't like everything that they brought Harrison Ford out. Everyone went bananas. I was waiting up for it because they knew everyone was tuning in for the Star Wars thing, and they told us everything that we knew already. We knew about the Millennium Falcon. We knew it was going to be a Star Wars land. I didn't see anything that I was like, okay, what else? What else? What else? Everything. I felt like I knew everything that happened that I've known about that they told us at D23 and that they've reported on since. Am I any less excited? No. I can't wait. I can't wait for this to open up. You're never going to be able to find me, or you will be able to find me because that's where I'll be. But I already told my wife, I go, my one birthday present, you just have to go with me. She's like, can't you get Ken Knapsack or Ellis to go with? But I will be there. I will be there the opening day.
What I will say is that I was at Disneyland yesterday, and it is so crowded. It is so packed, especially in Tomorrowland. Just people wanting to go on Star Tours or go on Hyperspace Mountain now, and going into the Star Wars launch bay and just kind of seeing the stuff that they're building out in there, getting to see the costumes and things. The one thing I did take away from it was he called it the Star Wars experience. Mm-hmm. He didn't say Star Wars Land. And so I was like, I didn't know if it's been confirmed that this is being called Star Wars Land or if it is going to be called the Star Wars experience. I don't know.
I like the Star Wars experience.
I do too.
Yeah.
Land is a little bit, it's we're in outer space here.
Disneyland.
Well, and I think I will totally admit it. When he started talking about it and he was like, all these lands that we've been to in the movies, like, you're going to get to walk into them. I got a little, like,
of course,
misty-eyed
yeah,
at the, like, thought of actually getting to walk in and being like, oh, this is Star Wars. Like, because you get to go through Tomorrowland and there's a lot of stuff that's built out, but it's definitely not to the level that what they're going to build.
You're in Disneyland. You're
Yeah.
not walking around. Look, I can't wait for the fact when we go there and there's a hut in there and there's people in a Jabba the Hutt type castle eating food and droids are serving you drinks. It's amazing. What did you take anything out of this story?
No. It was such a waste. It was all pomp and circumstance, and it was a total waste of time. But I was actually in Disneyland just a couple of days ago. So to completely back up what Tiffany's saying, the crowds are insane.
Yeah.
Like it means, look, I am a season pass holder. So
Same.
Ann and I have been season pass holders for years, and we go all the time. And the one really cool thing about the crowd zone and about the whole, like, everything going on with the Star Wars experience and stuff like that is that my favorite ride at Disneyland, which is the Indiana Jones ride, was only like a 15-minute wait. But then we went over to what was Tomorrowland, was shoulder to shoulder people. I cannot I cannot wait
crazy.
for this to open. I'm just so giddy. I'm far more giddy than a guy our age should be.
2018, 19, we don't know yet. It's kind of all over the
It's
place.
forever from now.
Well,
Well, what they'll do, they'll announce it for 2018, then they'll push it back 6 months in
2020
classic Star Wars fashion. Yeah,
No,
look,
they
I'm excited
won't.
for this. I think that you guys are getting a little spoiled because, yes, we already knew about this, but it was cool to get texts from like my friends and family members who were watching that, and that was their first introduction. I tried to tell as many people as possible when I was driving away from D23. I'm like, look, guys, save up your money right now. You're going to want to go to Disneyland in 2019. But a lot of people didn't know that this was coming at all. So it's very, very exciting for them to see it. If you want pomp and circumstance with no payoff, watch Fantasia. That's what that movie's for.
Oh, don't go
I'll
there.
throw there.
All right,
Wow.
next
Throw that,
story. you
No,
weasel.
don't say that.
So The Force Awakens is going to get a 5-issue comic adaptation. And you know, it's funny, Kristian, because we had that conversation just now about whether things are canon or not. So it's going to be an adaptation of the events of The Force Awakens, but maybe there's some other nuggets in there that will also count as canon. Is that right?
I think absolutely that'll be the case. But I wouldn't be surprised though if they pulled elements from the novel. If they put elements from the novel in the comic book, I think that will probably happen. I think whether or not we get any brand new material, whether or not they let the artists go ahead and do that, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, this story came out and I was like, okay, like we've got the movie, we've got the novelization, now the comic book, which I love comic books, obviously. But to me, this was kind of just another thing where it's like, what, like, do I
Why?
need this? I'm excited about it. I'm going to read it, but it's not, to me, I enjoy it when it's, okay, it's going to add things. And yeah, maybe they're going to add some stuff to the comic book that we didn't see in the movie or that we didn't get in the novelization. But I don't know. It was just kind of like, okay, yeah. Expected. Nothing, no big surprise that they're going to do a comic book.
Mark?
Maybe I'm just excited for my 5-week hiatus from Jedi Council, but like this is cool to me. I liked it because like I'm not going to
You're
read the
gonna
novel.
read them.
I'm going to read the comic books because there's pictures to look at,
Right.
but I don't want to read the novelization. I've heard some great details about it from like our buddy Kyle Newman, and you guys have told me other things that happened in there. Now, if I get to actually visualize what's going on in a new way that enhances my experience of the movie, which I will be watching on iTunes very soon, then yeah, I'm excited about it. Like this is going to get its 10 or 20 bucks or whatever a 5-issue comic book run costs these days.
Yeah. All right. Well, John went to go tackle a Wookiee. We're gonna.
Just a sad empty chair right there.
Yeah.
Just Darth Vader.
Just Vader. Hey, Darth. So, what do you got to say about it?
That's the end of the Rogue One trailer right there.
All right. So we're gonna hear from you guys because we'll hear
It's
from
okay.
John.
John doesn't read comics
No,
anyway.
he doesn't anyway. So we're gonna move on to you guys. You guys have been tweeting out hashtagging Collider Jedi Council. John didn't even want to stick around for the end of his tenure, and so he's gone now. He left. Why did he leave? He'll be back. So let's take some of your questions. You've been submitting them. Mark, what do we got?
Yeah, I want to first give a shout out to Colby, huge Jedi Council fan. I will be giving Kristian your question next week. I forgot my jacket. Sorry about that. The Twitter questions, meanwhile, kicks off with Logan Ryan, and he writes, what non-canon character do you want to be canon the most? I personally want Revan to be canon again.
Well, Revan almost was canon, for those of you who don't know. Well, first of all, you don't know who Revan was. Darth Revan was one of the most popular characters in the video game world. He debuted in the Knights of the Old Republic. Drew Karpyshyn and BioWare came up with the character, and great character. He was almost canon. They almost used him in the Clone Wars. There was during the Mortis episodes, they were going to use him and Darth Bane. Darth Bane actually became canon, and so now we have Bane. I think maybe eventually, Dave Filoni loves the legend stuff. He is very aware of Revan, so it's possible. For me, I've been talking about it. It's Thrawn. I gotta have Thrawn as the old legends because Plagueis is already canon, Bane is already canon. Those are the two that I really like. So for me, it's absolutely Thrawn. How about you?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Thrawn as well, just because we've talked so much, and there is a possibility that there's rumor that maybe we're gonna get Thrawn at some point. And I just think the character is so well developed and so cool and so well loved within the world that it would be really great to have it.
John?
In canon.
Thrawn. I mean, that's it. That's the only one out of any Star Wars character I can think of from the extended canon that I absolutely must have. There are many that would be cool to have, but if I have to think of one that I must have, it's Thrawn. Starkiller would be cool too.
Mara Jade is someone also.
Mara Jade's another
Yeah.
really good one, but the top of the list has to be Thrawn.
I was going to say Mara Jade
I'm
and
sorry.
impress everybody, so I'll say Wilford Brimley. Make him canon.
It would be
From the Ewoks movie,
Damn
yes.
right. Yeah. All right. What's next?
Joseph Meldrum asks, are Force Ghosts incapable of being where the dark side is. Obi-Wan couldn't interfere with Vader in Episode 5, after all.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. They haven't, and if you look at it too, because there were no Force ghosts that interfere with Rey, and they're talking to her in her visions. Obi-Wan was talking to her, and Yoda threw in something there to Rey, but they didn't interfere in that Kylo Ren battle. So there's something that could be said as well. I mean, I don't really want to see a Force ghost during a battle when there's a dark side there, because then it's like, why can't they do something? He can sit on a log. Why can't he help? So, what do you think?
I think it's a much simpler answer to that. I don't think Force ghosts can do anything.
Yeah.
I don't think Force ghosts in the Imperial world that can actually physically do anything.
Well, they can sit on logs.
I mean, they can sit, but I don't think they can pick up a log. I don't think, you know what I mean? I think so when Obi-Wan says to Luke, I can't interfere, I think he's literally, I can't interfere. I mean, there's nothing I can do. I can whisper, go get him, champ, into your ear, but I can't actually physically do anything. That's the way I interpret it at any rate.
We might find out a lot about this in Episode 8, because what you can do, you can't interfere in the physical world, but you can certainly get in somebody's head. I mean, as much as I would love to be a Jedi and have Obi-Wan guiding me, I don't want the Emperor talking smack to me while I'm trying to fly an X-Wing through a Death Star trench. So maybe, I wonder, Luke and his daddy patched things up at the end of Return of the Jedi, if you didn't know. So maybe is one of the people that Luke can communicate with, and I know that he went back to the light side, so he can talk to them, but you got to wonder, like, is Palpatine, is he just out of the picture entirely? Like, if you can explain it well enough as to why we haven't seen them yet in movies, I'd love to see an evil Force ghost.
Well, no, but I think that question was more of why can't the Force ghost be around where the dark side is?
Oh, as opposed to somebody actually on the dark side.
Yeah, like she never. So like when we,
I get it.
Wait, Joey,
I like
there?
the way I answered the question just fine.
Yeah.
But maybe it's something. Now I got to think on that one.
I don't think they can do anything. I don't think they have. I think they're like the idea that we think of as ghosts, where it's like they're there and they can talk to you. You can choose to listen or not, but they can't like physically force you to do something or move something.
Yeah.
Not like the Harry Potter ghosts.
Pull out their ghost lightsabers.
It must have been weird when Yoda died, because as soon as Yoda died, Obi-Wan comes to hang out with Luke. So Yoda dies and he goes to this new world and he just sees a sign at Obi-Wan's desk that says back in 5 minutes. Like he's not there to greet him.
Stepping out.
It's like, hey, sorry you died. I got to go talk to my boy.
All right, what's next?
Stephen Collins writes, do you think we will see some more solo kids in Episode 8? There was no mention of Ben being an only child.
You missed one.
That is not on me.
Let's do that one.
That's on whoever made these show notes. Does being in the Marvel Disney family hurt 5 weeks, kids? Hurt or help appearing in a future Star Wars movie? Anthony Mackie would be a perfect Lando.
It's a good question as well too, and I'm very curious to hear your take on this, John. Because for me, I kind of hope it doesn't hurt its chances. Someone tweeted this out to me, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but suggesting Tom Hiddleston as a young Palpatine, which I love.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
How great! Isn't that
nice.
a great casting choice?
Nice.
And whoever suggested that, please just retweet it to me, and I'll retweet you. But that is something I would love to see, and I don't think him being Loki takes away from that. I think they're two different, even though they're under the same roof, it doesn't take away from it. But you're pissing.
I think it depends on what the character is doing within that world right now.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie, I feel like his character Falcon is very involved, and I don't think it would necessarily work. Also, when you talk about scheduling, dude, that guy would have to be on the road all the time promoting Marvel films, then promoting the Star Wars films, and I don't think that Disney as a whole would be okay with trying to schedule around him.
Okay.
If it was like a cameo and they're like, oh, we're not going to do a lot with young Lando, then maybe, but I don't think so.
John?
Oh, I think it does nothing but help. I really do. Because when you listen to Alan Horn and guys like that, some of the head dogs over at Disney, they like building family there. And if it's not this, like, remember, this isn't like Chris Evans playing the Human Torch and playing Captain America, right? This is completely different franchises.
Worlds. Yeah.
And I think they would like to work with people they already know they like working with and all that kind of stuff. I think that being good and successful and having a name, whatever, in one Disney franchise and being a great team player in one, I think that increases the chances that if you're right for a particular role, that you could land that role. Because look, he's a busy actor. If he's not in the upcoming Star Wars movies, he's going to be in upcoming other movies. So he's going to be working multiple films regardless. Do you want those multiple films to be under the Disney roof or under the Disney roof and another studio's roof?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which member of the Avengers I'd most like to see or most would fit in a Star Wars movie. I think Hiddleston is clearly number one, even though he's not a member of the Avengers. He's in those movies. Jeremy Renner's another guy that I would love to see him in a Star Wars movie.
Maybe.
Interesting. What about you guys? Anybody that's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that you guys would think would work in Disney movie? Disney movie? Sure. Or a Star Wars movie.
It is a
That
Disney
works.
movie.
It is a Disney movie.
Disney Star Wars movie,
Yeah,
sure.
it's great. Okay, what's next?
Well, now we get to hear from Stephen Collins.
Oh,
Do you
I've heard
think
of
we'll
that
see
guy.
Solo Kids in Episode 8? There's no mention of Ben being an only child.
I do think we're going to see more Solo Kids. There's been a rumor of it. I think that it will,
It's not Rey.
No, it's, it's Solo Kid? No, I don't think Rey is a Solo at all. She's Skywalker. But I think that we will see Solo Kid, and I don't think that Han and Leia only had one child. And I think that what part of the storyline will be the fact that they're going to be pissed at their brother for axing their pops. I do. But John, think there's more Solo Kids?
Yeah, I do. I think there will be more Solo Kids. Jury's out on whether or not that'll be Rey. Is she a Skywalker? Is she a Solo? Is she something totally different? I tend to lean towards something totally different, or I give a 5% chance that she's Solo. 5% chance. But it's certainly interesting. But no, I think you're right. I do think that we are going to hear about another Solo child at some point, and probably in Episode 8.
I mean, yeah, I would lean towards that, but I'm thinking of the way that Han and Leia interacted in Episode 7. It just didn't seem like they had a lot of kids. It seemed like they had one kid, and man, did he go bad. Glad we didn't make any more of those. Because they never even mentioned anybody else in that movie. And I get that there's some secrecy, and we're focused on Ben and making sure that he can maybe one day come back to the light. But I don't know. I'm less certain than I was going into Episode 7 than I am now.
Okay. Tiff?
Yeah, I think that, when I rewatch it, I want to listen to how they talk, because it's like, if you think about, you having a daughter, if you had two kids and you're having a conversation about one kid and you haven't seen the father of these kids in a long time, I feel like it's probably going to come up something in some sense of the word. You're going to mention something that leads you to believe that there's another kid out there. And I don't think I ever heard anything like that, but I also wasn't really paying attention to it.
There wasn't, but it's also that you're able to get around that a little bit when it's a movie.
But if they're planning that, if they already know what the story's going to be, so I feel like they would have been conscious of that.
Maybe.
Yeah, he just saw his strange lover for the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
and he was just like, oh yeah, Ben is a man. He's still wearing that creepy mask. How's Lucy? Like, you couldn't ask how my daughter is.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
But I will tell you this though. There are,
Lucy Solo.
and those of us at the table know this, but I'll let you know this. There are questions raised in Star Wars Episode 7 that even Lucasfilm had not decided what the answers were yet when they shot Episode 7. And that is consistent with what George Lucas did with Star Wars as well. There are some questions and that is actually, I think, a part of the brilliance in how they're handling this. I can't remember which showrunner it was, but there's a great documentary called Showrunners, to talk about guys who run TV shows. He says, some people come out and they say they've got all 7 seasons planned out. He said, that's ludicrous. You have to wait and see this creation, this show of yours. You have to see it come to life and breathe its own air and see how it's growing organically.
And how people respond to
and
it.
how people respond to it and all that kind of stuff. Then you shift your gears. And so it's good to have a plan, but you understand it's got to shift. And I think with Episode 7, I think that's what JJ and Kathleen Kennedy did. They approached it to say, hey, look, there are a couple of questions that are going to be raised in Star Wars 7 that we won't know the answer to until after we're done 7. We sit back and watch it for ourselves 4 or 5 times, hear how the audience respond a few times, and then we will adjust course accordingly. And I think that's part of the genius of what they're doing.
All right, that's it. That's our show for today. I wanted to thank our counsel for joining us. Mark Trudito, welcome back, my friend. Where can the good people find you?
Good to be back. I really missed you, kids. Now I'm going to skip town again. I'm going to be in Delaware and Pennsylvania this week, and you can get tickets to the shows at markellislive.com, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And subscribe to Kristian and I's movie channel, Schmoes Know on YouTube.
Obi-John Kenobi, John Campea, where can they find you and where can they find The Pride?
Well, you can find my new novel, The Pride. It's on Amazon right now. Just search for The Pride and John Campea and you'll find it. It's right there. You can also find me tomorrow on Movie Talk, which is actually my final movie talk. Wow. So make sure you come and join us. It's also my birthday tomorrow, actually. So it's celebrating a whole lot of stuff.
Lots
Okay.
of celebrating.
And then you can simply follow me on Facebook and on Twitter just at John Campea.
And the Smith Lord, Tiffany Smith. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Disneyland most of the time. But you can also find me on social media at Tiffany's Tweets. And you can find me on Fandango, Movie Clips. Kristian and I co-host Movie Threesome. There'll be a new episode up today with John Campea joining us.
That's right. I'm in today. That's right.
You guys should watch that one. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Go to Movie Clips Originals and you can find the episode with John.
It is the best cheese I've ever eaten.
Oh, gross.
You'll know
And
That's all I'm going to say.
you guys can check me out on DC All Access. And if you haven't already yet, DC All Access has an app on your phone. So download it if you want to keep up with the videos there.
Yeah, for me, there's a couple things you guys should know about. If you didn't know already, the Walking Dead after show will be back. It'll be back right after we're doing an Oscar special. That's going to be a lot of fun as well, too. Make sure you tune into our Oscar special. But then right after the Oscar special, we're going to be doing the Walking Dead after show. It returns, as well as we announced the Ultimate Schmodown game show, the movie trivia show. And we confirmed a few matches. One of those matches is the man himself right here, John Campea, will be going up against the Screen Junkies Movie Fights champion, Dan Murrell. John, we haven't heard your thoughts yet on this match. Any thoughts on going up against Dan Murrell?
Things that don't require effort require no thought.
Oh, big shot at dangerous Dan Murrell.
Wow.
Barbs tossed, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Wowzers.
That'll happen really soon, guys. So just be looking for the updates. If you want to find out more updates in regards to that, you check out, obviously, Collider video on Instagram. Check out myself at Kristian Harloff, Twitter, Instagram, the whole thing. Like Mark said, subscribe over at Schmoes Know on YouTube. And we'll see you next week. Make sure you hashtag Collider Jedi Council. Get your questions on the air. We will try to answer as many as we can. May the Force be with you, always.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.